Okay, speaking of bad things Disney is doing, I'm
Oh boy.
pulling this from our friends at That Park Place and Lorena Creel as well. But
Nice.
yeah, I believe in May or coming up soon, Tiana's Bayou Adventure is opening at Walt Disney World. Disney Parks here says, let's see if I can read that. We are thrilled to share Splash Mountain. Oh, this is the old. This is the old um, artist concepts
Yep.
of Tiana's Bayou Adventure. Doesn't it look pretty good? Like
Yeah, I
there's
mean it looks pretty.
Tiana. I
Yeah.
know, and look at that. Look, the mountain may be a little bit smaller, but you have this beautiful tree above it, and then
Yeah.
it's surrounded by the bayou. I mean, this feels like New Orleans to me. I'm pretty impressed with what they've done here.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you're saying, yeah, it looks pretty good, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
All right. And of course, what happened was, yeah, here we go. So there's the original Splash Mountain. This is the Disneyland one. Why? Because it has the greatest seats ever. It's the date seats there, the single row. But I remember when this opened at Disneyland. I was there during its soft opening. It was a
Wow.
really great ride. For me, it was seeing the old America Scenes characters in it, and then finally we have a flume ride, a log ride at Disneyland, and loved it. So with in just a few months, Disney fans out there will be able to experience the brand new Tiana's Bayou Adventure. Look at that. Isn't that great?
This looks like something you would see in like a parody film about Disney. Like this looks like that one movie that Johnny Knoxville did. Like Danger Park. Like this looks like something like that where like the people are going to come shooting out on a log and like fly off the edge. This is so bad.
I know. Let's remind ourselves. Here's the original artwork. I mean that's yeah. That would have been great.
Magical. You're like, ooh, look, we're down in the bayou. That's beautiful. Nope. Sorry, guys, we're in the landfill. It wasn't a bayou. It was it was a landfill. It was
Yeah.
yeah.
I mean,
This is where your septic waste goes at the end of the day.
I know it's like the fungus is just growing all over this hillside.
How do you mess up that badly?
It's a kudzu on steroids here.
Oh no.
Yeah, I mean, this just gets back to again the gaslighting that Disney gives us, and this is specific to this era of Disney, the Iger era of Disney, because you knew that they wanted to get rid of Song of the South and anything that had anything to do with it. Yep. And so they sold us on this image of like, Tiana is a great movie. My daughter is next to Tangled. Princess and the Frog was my daughter's favorite Disney movie at that time. She still makes me listen to the soundtrack in my car on long trips. It's not that they weren't beloved characters. They were beloved characters, but it was, and they sell us on this and they give us that. And it speaks to me, clearly they didn't know how to transform the original ride, because there's no way that they were going to rebuild this ride. So they took what was existing there, put the, unlike Disneyland where they put the Nightmare Before Christmas overlay over the ride, this is the Princess and the Frog overlay, and it looks horrible because they don't know what they're doing. I think the folks over at That Park Place describe it as this is a Hobby Lobby decorations.
Yeah,
they bought it in bulk, and the point I want to make here is one of the things that's missing from Disney, has been missing for a very long time, is this idea of excellence. There was a time where you would go to the park and you would walk into the world of whatever. You walk into the future at Tomorrowland. You would walk into the Western of Frontierland. You go to Toontown and you're walking into the land where Mickey and Minnie live. And people spend a lot of money, a lot of time, and a lot of effort to make it look like those things, to give us that experience.
Yeah.
And that is gone. If you go over to That Park Place, I'll keep pushing their site because they're good to us and we've been good to them, and we're kind of on the same team here. But they'll go over just the lack of the lack of excellence that is missing throughout the entire park. The excellence that is missing throughout the entire park, where even lights in the sidewalks don't work. And and so you're seeing this lack of care from the studio and their movies now being transferred to the theme park, which of course the theme park was where the money was coming from, and they can't even get that right. You brought up Galaxy's Edge. Chris did an entire series on the problem with Galaxy's Edge. And then
it's awful. And I think that what you said, that drive for excellence is huge, and for you to not have that as a company shows you that there's something like fundamentally wrong with you as a company. Like you should always, it's one thing to say, hey, we tried really hard and things didn't work out. But the thing is, when you're the biggest dog on campus, when you're the biggest company in the world and you own all of these IPs and all of these concepts and stuff, we all expect that you are going to put into these the amount of effort and time that we think is deserving of those IPs. And it's obvious that they're not. And now, they're doing it to their own products. It'd be one thing if this was with Galactic Star Cruiser, maybe Disney never really, I'm just using this as an excuse, but like maybe Disney never really fully bought into Star Wars. Maybe Bob Iger wasn't a big Star Wars fan. Maybe Kathleen Kennedy doesn't even really believe in Star Wars. And so they're just investing a little bit here, and they're just kind of like letting it just exist on its own. But like Princess and the Frog is a Disney property. You should believe in this, and you should invest all the time and effort and money that you can into this to make it look excellent and prove to people, listen, what you've lost is not as good as what we're about to give you. But instead, it's like they're just gutting everything that they have to talk about how problematic it is, and they're not replacing with anything of any merit or substance or quality. And even like, you said, like Strange New World, anytime they come up with an original idea, it's completely bankrupt. There's no creativity in it. It's just to push another agenda or another concept to people. It's really sad.
Yeah, I'll keep bringing up. I'll bring up Michael Eisner again. Yes. He was driven by money, and the way he knew to make money was to entertain people. I mean, and quite frankly, that was Walt Disney. I think Eisner was just a little more evil about it. But nonetheless, from Eisner came Little Mermaid, Beauty and the Beast, Lion King. He has a success record. He knew that money came from creativity. While now, we've said it again, or you said it, where money comes from the IP, the cash cow that they just bought.
Yep.
These money making machines, and all they have to do is keep recreating the money making machine, and it'll just make more money. And creativity is just not in there anymore. And they hire people who have no concern for excellence. Instead, they have concern for some kind of activism. Like, we need to tell stories about this. Our stories need to look. The characters in our stories need to look like this. The fact that now, well, I just watched the Tales of the Empire, and if you're honestly, Chris Gore said, if you're honestly going to bank Star Wars as a girls' brand, you're going to lose money. And Disney has entertained girls in the past with the princesses. Why do you have to make everything that way?
Disney has always been multifaceted and be able to appeal to a broad range of people across the spectrum on what works and what is good and what isn't. Like, if you argue that The Little Mermaid is a girls' movie, then The Lion King is a boys' movie. If you argue that Aladdin is a boys movie, like, there's always been a balance to everything. And I remember at one point, and this was, oh my gosh, this might have been, I don't know, a decade ago. I remember there was a whole conversation that Disney had and brought forth about how they were losing, their projects weren't doing as well as they wanted them to, and they were going to put an emphasis on making movies for young boys. And they wanted to put an emphasis on that. I remember it started with, I think it was Mars Needs Moms. I think it was a Disney brand movie.
Yeah, that was.
And it kind of flopped. Yeah, it kind of flopped, and like the idea now of like boy brands or movies for boys are like, it's okay to feel sensitive and it's okay to have feelings, and it's like that has never been an issue. But boy, like a young boy doesn't want to watch a movie where somebody's screaming at him to cry. Like he wants to watch a movie where like the good guy fights a bad guy and there's a giant explosion in the background. Like, and it's funny because like I went back and recently started rewatching the old MCU movies with my son, and he loves just about everything that was before Infinity War. Like there's some movies he's like, I'm not as interested in this, but for the most part, he likes those movies because there's a lot of action, there's a lot of drive in them. They're not preachy, they're not arguing with people. Like a lot of the new stuff he has no interest in. He gets bored, he gets up, he walks away, things like that, because he can tell the difference. He can see it. You know, he can, and the other part of it is like we're also seeing it with some of these newer movies. He'll watch these newer movies and there's nothing interesting. It's just about like a bunch of people sitting around talking about their feelings and talking about why other people not talking about their feelings is bad. And it's like, he's like, this isn't funny. I don't find this entertaining. I don't find anything fun about this. And it's really sad to see. And it's very frustrating as a father to watch this, because I'm like, okay, I guess all we have to go on now is the stuff that we had before. And so when he's like, hey, you want to watch this with me? I'm like, buddy, I don't think that that's going to be worth our time. And he doesn't understand that. But I'm like, you're not going to enjoy this movie. Let's go back and watch something that I know you'll like, because that's all we really have right now, because a lot of the new stuff isn't good anymore. So
yeah, I mean, I'll tell you that being able to see as many movies as I can or I have is a privilege of what I do. And the other privilege is me being able to take my daughter with me. And she has now gotten to the point of it doesn't, hey, there's a screening of this coming up. For example, next Wednesday I'm seeing Furiosa. She has no interest in seeing that. And that is the comment I'm getting a lot nowadays of, hey, do you want to go to this screening? Do you want to see The Fall Guy with me? I have no interest in seeing that. And I will say that not that she represents all teens out there, but I have a feeling they're not that atypical, but they're just not into movies anymore. And I have to believe a lot of it has to do with the fact that they don't care about these stories. The Marvels, the classic one was, are you going to see the Marvels? Are your friends going to see the Marvels? And she says, no, we saw the trailer and it sucked. And that's why they didn't see the Marvels. Wow. The very audience.